Alright, so welcome again, OpenVAS Part 2 installation. I have prepared here a fresh Debian 9 machine on which I'm going to install OpenVAS. So let's get to it. So before proceeding with the installation, these are a couple of important points that we need to discuss. First of all, the installation methods. Of course, you have multiple choices here, the easiest one being going with the packages available in the repository. But if you want to have the latest version, the best choice here is to go and compile it from sources. Of course, you also have VM appliances already installed and even containers. I will show you here the installation, the first method of installation from a repository. On my Debian system, we will do that with aptitude. There are a couple of important paths that you need to know, like these ones right here. And also I wrote here a couple of binaries that we will focus our attention on. The GSAD is the security assistant, the web front end. The OpenVAS SD is the security daemon. The OpenVAS MD is the manager daemon, the manager component. And you also have these last two, which are tools for generating certificates. The first one, OpenVAS make cert, is for generating certificates for the scanner component, and the second one is generating certificates for the manager component. After OpenVAS is installed, you need to go and tweak a couple of configuration files, and I have structured my configuration process around the three main components of the solution: the Greenbone Security Assistant, the management component, and the scanner component. And for each of these components, I have wrote here a couple of parameters that I think are important. So when we search in the Debian repository, we can see the packages here. For all the components, it's enough to install the meta package, this one right here. So before proceeding with the installation, let's see the version of the package. You can see it right here, 609. And right now installing the package. As you can see, it's taking some space, around 1.5 gigs, and it will also take some time to install all the packages. What you are seeing in here is the socket file for the Redis database. Anyway, we will modify the path for this in the Redis configuration. The installation will now continue. Installation has now been finished. Let's check the packages installed. We have the OpenVAS components right here. As you can see, there are some initd scripts for the OpenVAS components, but those are not used actually, because we already have systemd scripts. I will show you in a minute. Here are also some configuration files in etc default that are not used. As you will see, it says right here in the configuration file, these configuration files are used only in case of initd scripts, but usually the configuration for our case is done in the systemd scripts. I will show you how I'm going to edit one of these scripts. Here is the initd scripts for security assistant, and as you can see, here are the parameters. These are actually the parameters that I've shown you in this slide. And we can see for the binary, if we issue the help, what are those specific parameters here. The important ones are the listen, the manager listen, the ports for the assistant and the manager, and the certificate in the private key. If we go and edit the system deinitialization script, we can modify those parameters in here. We need to put the empty exec start in order to clear out the previous one. And we are going to change the listening address. By default is binded to the loopback address and is not very useful. And I'm also going to use here the standard SSL port, HTTPS. This is the OpenVAS manager system deinitialization, and usually the default options are good. Here you can see this database parameter that is not appearing in the contextual help. So other than listening address port in the database for the caching database, we don't need anything else here, so we can leave it as it is. The OpenVAS scanner is a bit different from the other two because it also takes a configuration file. You have also the same parameters, listen and port, but as you can see here, you can have you can put the config file parameter. So we are going to add that config file parameter. Okay, right here. -- config file. This is the default path that OpenVAS scanner is looking for the configuration file. Let's see OpenVAS, OpenVAS is the.conf. And if we display the default configuration parameters, you can see we also have the config file parameter, which is the default one I showed you earlier. So we can redirect these default parameters to an actual configuration file in the default path, and then we will modify that configuration file as we want to. Here we are opening the configuration file from the default path, and the most important parameter that we have to modify here is this KB location, which is actually the path of the Redis Unix socket. I'm going to check the Unix socket in the Redis configuration right now. Save and then restart the service, the Redis service. It started, and now we are going to restart it. And let's check the presence of the socket file. You can see it right here. All right, so we're good to go. Now we can modify the OpenVAS scanner configuration and put the right path right here. Now I'm going to create the certificates. First, the certificate for the scanner component is going to create a certificate as well as the certification authority, as you will see. I just put some stuff in here, and you can see here we have both the certificate authority and the scanner certificate. Now for the other part, the client certificate, which is for the manager, I wanted to show you the -i parameter, which will install the certificates after they are created. And this one will create actually two certificates. One is for the HTTPS uh, security assistant, and the other one is for the manager. This second one is for the manager. Now we can go ahead and check if the certificates were created correctly. Here are the certificate authorities. The certificates actually. Those are the certificates, and the private keys are in the OpenVAS/private. So we can go and start the components. We started the security assistant, which you can see is active and running. And we can start the other two, the OpenVAS manager and the scanner, of course. Let's also check. So those components are started, all three of them, so we are good to proceed further. The next thing on our list is creating a default administration user, and we can do that usually using the OpenVAS manager, OpenVAS MD. With create user, there are a couple of roles. Even if you don't specify the role admin, this user will be created with the role admin, but I just wanted to put it in clear here. And I'm going to change the password right now. We can also use the OpenVAS manager to check the users created with this get users command. There are also other commands like get scanners. We will see this is the only one scanner, the default scanner that is created. The only thing that's left to do right now before going and actually using the product is updating the vulnerability database. And we can do that with a couple of scripts that you can see right here. They all start with OpenVAS -something. So we have cert data, scat data, and MVT sync. And you need to be aware about the URL of this feed, which has changed from the one that we have in this actual version. And we need to modify the scripts to use the correct feed URL. And that's what we are going to do right now. We are the scripts are using actually they can use more than one protocol for synchronization, and one is rsync, and the other one is HTTP. We are going to use rsync, which is the one recommended by the Greenbone software. I'm not going to modify the HTTP one because we are not going to use the HTTP update mechanism. So here also rsync. And the last one is the cert data, which also has an rsync feed. So after we do this, we can proceed and update the vulnerability database and run each of these scripts. We need to specify the rsync parameter because the default it will try to use HTTP. So after this finishes, we are going to continue with the next two update scripts. And you can see we can already access the HTTPS, the web front end. It will take a while before the update scripts will finish. But that's it. We have a brand new OpenVAS installation, and we are now ready to proceed with scanning and configuring the actual scans and targets. So